Welcome back, everybody, to the Barbells and Trails Podcast. I am your host, Brett, back with another episode. And I am here with a guest, but not the one you guys expected. I'm back with Bailey. I did say that I was going to try getting her on every podcast episode. She was not on the last one. I honestly don't know what she was doing.
Probably working.
No, but...
Oh. Okay.
But I told you guys I was supposed to have a different guest on, and you can vouch for me that he was here. Correct?
Mm-hmm. He was.
Okay. Well, Andrew, a buddy of mine that I met right out of high school, at work, lives about two hours, an hour and a half south of here, and he came up Friday, and we hung out, and he spent the night, and we were going to record the podcast, all this shit, and had a decent amount to talk about. I thought it was going to be pretty fun, and let's just say we were late Friday evening, didn't get home till like 2:30, and then not only that, but well, we kind of lost track of time, and he had to leave at like 6, and then we literally got in here. I was already going to be pushing it on how long the podcast was going to be, because it probably would have been a longer one, and I was already going to push it to at least an hour, if not less, before he had to take off. Right as we were about to record, he ended up getting a phone call from his work saying, "Hey, we need you down here in an hour." And so he basically immediately had to like grab his shit and take off, and he had to leave and probably got to work like right on time. And so it was kind of the worst timing. I guess the reason we should have done it earlier, and I told him that after, like, later, and he's like, "Yeah, probably." But I mean, we had a late night, kind of slept in, but even then it wasn't. I think I got up at like 9, and then I was kind of showing him around the area. We kind of did some things, went to a coffee shop, showed him around spots around our area, because he's never been up here, and so I mean, yeah, we kind of lost track of time.
So sorry you're stuck with me.
Yeah, a little bit. And then also, this is going out late. This is coming out Thursday. And part of that was I can't even remember what happened Monday. We were somewhere. Oh, we went and got groceries. That's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
We got groceries Monday evening, and then last night we were at a viewing. So both situations, we didn't get home till like 8:30, and then yeah. So basically got ready for bed at 8 or did whatever. So yeah, the podcast kind of was on hold. I guess we really should have recorded Sunday. I really don't know what we did Sunday.
I worked.
You did work. Did you? Yeah, you did. You did work for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's been an interesting handful of days.
Mm-hmm.
I had a more expensive meal than I've had in a while. Went to an authentic Italian restaurant that I didn't even know existed.
I'm kind of jealous that you went to that.
It was so good. I'm definitely going to go there more often. Like maybe once a month.
Once a month?
Once a month. Yeah. I mean.
Then you'll get tired of it.
No. I was literally looking, and I was like, I feel like I could eat every single item on this menu. Like, it all sounds delicious.
I'm going to have to try it, because I love me some pasta.
Yes. I didn't even get pasta. Like, I had rice, but other than that, I didn't have pasta, but it was still so good. Like, I could have just sat there and ate the bread. And we got an appetizer.
I love bread too, so
I
would gain 20 pounds in one sitting.
Oh, we ate a lot. Luckily, that was like, I think that was the only meal I had Saturday. I don't think I had anything Saturday night. So, I mean,
I think you ate your leftovers.
Shit, I might have ate leftovers.
Mm.
I did. Oh, well, that was it. It was just that little bit of pizza that was left. It was a little, like, margarita pizza. But no, it was a lot of fun to show him around. I mean, he grew up, I would say, in the boondocks. Not really in the boondocks, because I feel like Brown County is a nice area. Sort of. Like, I mean, he grew up in Story, Indiana, and it's
very
like
small.
Brown County is already kind of secluded. And then you go to Story, Indiana, and you're like in the back corner of the county, where just to even get to like Nashville, the main city center or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is like 25 minutes, if not more. It's like but it's not that far. It's just how you have to
The
drive to get
curves
there.
and everything, yeah.
So
That's something I don't miss.
I
Is
no, I
how
don't.
long it takes
That was one thing
to
we
get
were
to
talking about
places.
here.
I'm
He's like, yeah,
Jesus Christ.
everything's so straight. I'm like, yeah.
Mm.
One, you can speed, like actually speed. Down there, speeding is like going 50 because you got to like watch
dangerous,
where you're
yeah.
driving and how you're driving. And then not only that, but like you said, the curves is like if it was somewhere here literally going 5 miles, you could be there in like 3 minutes here. It might be a little fast, but you know what I'm saying. There going 5 miles might take you 15.
Yep.
Depending on where you are and exactly
Because
where you're
like we didn't live that far from our uncle, but it took us forever to get there.
No, yeah, when it goes to distance, it wasn't that far, but it was like a 25 plus minute drive at least.
Yeah.
And that was after we got better at driving.
From someone that's car sick, I fucking hated it. So
Yeah, that's after you get more comfortable driving down there and you can drive a little faster. When you're first down there, you're not going fast. You're going like 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that drive was like 35 minutes. But no, so he was here. You can vouch for me on that one, so I didn't lie on that aspect. It just sucked that it happened that way.
Yeah.
But
I think it would have been good.
yeah, I think it would have been a lot of fun because I did have some things to talk about and also just we vibe off of some shit. And I kind of wanted to give him shit because he's like, hey, is it okay like if I edit it? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, what if I say something and I want to cut it out because I don't want people to see? I was like, one, what the hell are you going to say? Where that would be necessary. I know me and him can say some raunchy shit. We really can to one another. But so he has done stand-up, you know, that kind of on the side before.
I was going to ask him if he was still doing it. Is he not?
Not as much. He used to go like he went like twice a week to go do like open mics and stuff. And so he already has that kind of humor in the sense of like saying outrageous shit, kind of getting a laugh, like a more comedic side of things. And then me and myself have even subconsciously, I'm not a comedian. I'm not, but depending around the people I'm with, I do.
Let me verify. I'm not a comedian.
Not at all.
Let me clarify.
I think I would be. I don't think I would be terrible, but it's a lot different having to come up with a bit and then just play off of yourself instead of playing off other people. I can play off a group. I can't play off myself necessarily that much. And so me and him have always had that sense of humor.
Comedians play off their
crowds.
sometimes.
Not always. Not for like a special or like when they're really trying to work a bit. Like for for the big events, they're not. For like little stuff, crowd like developing their shit, yeah. But so me and him do say some outrageous shit, but it's because we know that we're just trying to get a rise out of one another, and almost in a comedic fashion. And we did that even when we worked together. And so I think that's why he was like, depending on what
they were
we
work wives,
sort of, and depending on what we were going to talk about or what we got into, I think he was like, might be a little too far. I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that gets said in podcasts. I do know what he means, but it's like, yeah, I mean, you say some outrageous shit sometimes. But, okay, so last time was it 2 weeks ago that you were on? I think. Since then, you watched the KSI fight with me.
Yes.
And Deji's.
Yes. I was proud of Deji.
What did you think?
I mean, I thought it was good. Y'all were asleep for half the fights. I was like in it when Deji went.
I watched all the big fights
compared to the one that I have seen because I haven't seen all of his fights.
No, I haven't watched.
I thought he did well. And then JJ's fight again surprised me that it got done in the beginning of the second round, but then it was the elbow and I mean, which we saw. Like I didn't see when it actually happened, but when they did the playback, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, when they did the playback, it was like, well, that's obvious.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it was a good fight, and I still think he'd win, even if it wasn't his elbow that contacted him.
It looked like it, and so I don't know, because at the time it was just like, did that just happen?
Yeah, because I was shocked that it was like done. No.
Well, and when he got knocked out, like he was out there for a second. It was like, oh shit. I was like, damn. I was like, he just rocked him. And he was fighting very well, and I think he was controlling it and still starting to get in his groove, almost kind of like he did for Temper on the last one, because it was the second round that he knocked him out in that. And he kind of like used the first round to kind of feel him out a little bit and kind of see what he needed to do, how he's fighting, and whatever. And yeah, when it happened, like you said, no clue. Had no idea it ever happened. And then they show the replay, and you're like,
yeah,
that's an elbow. And he didn't know it at the time, but he was like, the elbow, I hit him with the right hand.
There's
like,
no way that was an elbow. Like, when you were saying
it did sound bad, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna regret that a week.
Yeah,
and he did, but he just didn't.
It's not like he knew. He didn't do it on purpose.
No. Well, like at this point, like I think I told you yesterday, it's only been a day or two, and I think they announced that it's no contest now, so it's not on either of their records, I don't think. With how that works, like basically it's just scrubbed.
Which, wasn't he supposed like retiring or something?
The other guy, I think he practically is. I think he is technically like a more retired professional boxer. He got into business and has made a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something else. I mean, it was interesting, and I'm curious to see who he fights next. Like Tommy is supposed to be like the next one.
For sure gonna be Tommy.
I hope so, because that'd be really, really good.
That one's the one that I'm gonna be like
a little more nervous about.
Oh yeah.
But then it's like, in that situation, like, does the Jake Paul KSI fight ever happen if let's say he beats Tommy Fury?
I would say no. But I also could see them just doing it for like the fan base purposes, because it's been said to happen for years, and they like play off of it that they hate each other, like all that stuff. Yeah. So I could see that happening.
That's true. It's I don't know. It's hard to tell what exactly is going to happen, but I know the thing that
I personally wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't?
Like if I was him, like I get they could make a lot of money off of it because of all like the drama and stuff that they've stirred up over the past few years. But I think he's a better fighter.
Who?
JJ.
You think JJ's a better fighter than Jake?
Yeah.
I
mean,
fair.
I know he's like training a lot for his fight in August?
Who?
Jake.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who. I think so. I remember.
He's fighting.
They were putting it on the screen for
Nate Diaz, which will be interesting because it's an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
He's only had one boxer. Technically, two boxers.
I don't understand why. Is it harder to like become a professional MMA?
Yes.
Because, well, I figured it would be, but because didn't Logan and Jake wrestle in high school or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that would benefit them in that.
Yeah, but they're not doing an MMA fight.
I know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they could have, instead of doing the boxing, they could have went to that.
I guess, but you get really fucked up in that.
Well, true, but
and I feel like it's
instead
probably,
he's
Logan's
doing WWE.
It might be harder to draw in a crowd because I feel like
I don't know. I think they're more entertaining.
Well, because you got to be even more dedicated. I feel like to be a like MMA.
Well, that's
because there's so much more shit to learn. You can't just focus on striking, which that's 90% of. Well, that's not 90% of boxing. Most of it is strategy and footwork, and like how you move. But at the same time, like your only aggression is throwing your arms.
Yeah.
And when you're in MMA, it's anything. So you got to know a lot of stuff.
I used to love watching those.
Otherwise, you're gonna get screwed. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I mean, Mams, his manager, said that he only has a handful of fights left in him.
Who?
JJ.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. I mean, I hope if he does, I hope it's like a Tommy, Jake. I don't know who else. Maybe he fights Floyd. I don't know.
Wasn't there somebody else at one point that he called out?
I think there was, but I can't remember who it is. But the one thing that the guy that he elbowed was saying was like, oh yeah, he elbowed me on purpose because he knew that I light up in the later rounds, and like that's when I get
Of course, that's what
real
he's
good.
saying.
And he's like, he did that on purpose. And it was like, if you watch it, you can
tell like that's not something he can do on purpose. Like,
No.
especially in that instance when you watch the replay, you can
Yeah.
tell he had no fucking idea.
And even then, it wasn't a direct. I mean, like yeah, it wasn't even a direct elbow. It just how it collided.
Yeah.
It happens. Like, there's not much you can say about it. And him saying that, I would understand why JJ was pissed. But between that and everything else, I don't know. I think there's still some shit with YouTube boxing, and then with Logan, like you said, with the WWE, that I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like,
Yeah, I did not see him doing that.
no, I didn't see that coming at all. It just kind of happened. So it's pretty interesting that he's been able to do so well, and I think he's done it a year. I think that's about right. Then, I mean, compared
Didn't
to
towards the beginning he got hurt?
it was last year, last fall, he blew out his knee,
That's what I thought.
and he kept wrestling during the match, like he didn't stop. So
Commitment, I guess.
oh yeah, well I did. This got brought up, I think, this might have been a Rogan episode, and they were talking about I don't know wrestling anymore, but was it whoever owns WWE? Like, he's a part of the show, but I can't remember his name. He used to be a wrestler.
I don't remember.
And at one point, this would have been like, I think the 90s or 2000s, and he ran out yelling at someone for fucking something up, and he ran out and jumped in the ring, and as he jumped in and how he dove in, he somehow, I think, stretched his quads and tore both of his quads, and he couldn't stand up.
At the same time.
So he couldn't get up. So, but they're still in character. So he's just sitting there screaming at them, and they are just kind of playing along with it because they don't know what the fuck just happened, and so they just kind of go.
How did
through
they
it.
get him to like get up and like make it part of the show?
I
Without
I really don't
Bro,
know
I
how.
can't walk.
But they showed the clip, and I was like, I feel like I've heard about that, but I don't think I saw it.
That
live.
that is insane. At the same time, that is
just
like
ripped his quads. Yeah, I
hey.
think it's because he like dove under, and I'm guessing his legs, like when he dove, kind of pushed.
That's kind of harder to.
Like, he just like overstretched the quad. I think he like went
Is it
to.
considered a rupture? No.
I don't know if it was that bad, but it was enough where.
A tear.
He couldn't really use it right then and there. It's like he lost function.
But like that is kind of like harder for your quad, like that.
That'd be like one of the worst muscles for that to happen to.
Yeah.
So it's like, holy shit.
I mean, knees are hard to recover.
Well, yeah.
But
Quad muscles, like, well, actually, your calf's the most active muscle, I think, is a study. I think the calf burns the most amount of calories out of any muscle in the body, or something like that. Like, or I heard someone say it's considered the heart of the legs, because without the calves, they almost get all the blood flow through the legs because of everything. There's supposed to be the most amount of mass on your body and your legs. I think I skipped a little too many leg days, honestly. I need to get back at
that's
it.
what Jessica and I talk about at work. She's like, I can do anything with my legs, but my arms are so puny. And she talks about it all the time. It's funny.
I don't know what it is. I need to get back after it with leg days in particular. Not miss them.
I like leg days.
I do. Just, I don't know.
I mean, I know I'm like, at least for a while, I'm sore because, I'm out of shape and don't go to the gym. But leg days are my favorite.
Yeah, I get why.
Even though I have fucked up knees and my knees always hurt, they're still my favorite.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
it depends on what I'm doing.
I like chest and back, but I absolutely hate anything with my arms.
It depends on what it is. Like, to really grow your biceps, you basically just got to do a lot of curls. And curls are kind of an annoying exercise to me, personally.
Yeah, I don't like them.
The one thing I would like to replace with curls is, like, chin-ups.
I like hammer curls. But
I
like
mean, it's just,
regular curls, no.
Fair enough. Are you going
I like
to the
skull
gym tomorrow?
crushers too. What?
You going to the gym tomorrow?
I'm gonna try. I woke up early this morning. I'm gonna try to do the same thing tomorrow. But I don't know if I'm driving tomorrow or if I'm riding. So
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back after it with all that. Also, by the way, if anybody's still watching at this point, anyways, I don't know. I don't know. I looked at my watch. Be sure to. I'm gonna link everything in the description. Go follow my new Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you have. I'll put the links in the description for my new realtor business Instagram. So check it out. I only got one post on everything so far, but hey, I mean, I just started it.
He's a
the other day.
realtor.
Yeah, so go ahead and go down there, follow, and then if anybody's in the local area that's looking for a home, feel free to hit me up. But might as well, right? So the other day, you know how I'm trying to take my nutrition more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think about last night. That doesn't work as an example of what we had for dinner.
Okay.
But you saw what I bought for my groceries. Now I just gotta actually eat it and actually eat all those things.
Yeah.
But
they go bad pretty quick.
So there is a thing now. It's so weird because now it's like a dumb marketing scheme in a way, but it's also like, where do you draw the line of like natural, unprocessed products that are like organically made or whatever, like all natural stuff, whatever. I saw an ad, was it yesterday or something, about organic, natural, 100% cotton underwear because it's better for you.
I feel like I'd be itchy.
I don't think so, but it's still like, it's just basically they're saying no polyester because polyester has like, it's like partially plastic and all this stuff and in the fabric, and that you want to go like 100% like natural or whatever, and it's good for your nads or something like. And I'm like,
Are you gonna try it?
No, I don't think I'm gonna try it, but I'm just like, I think that might be too far. Like, I was like, I don't know if that actually would have an effect. Like, I understand that there's things in your environment that definitely affect your hormones and your endocrine system, and there's stuff that leaches into your skin or whatever from plastics or other things, but I was like, all natural underwear. That's the one I'm like, I don't know. It was a little interesting.
I'm not sure.
And then I saw something about an EMF blocking underwear. So electromagnetic frequencies. So for your underwear and a beanie. So your balls, junk are protected, but so is your brain. And EMFs is like,
how do they do that?
I don't know. I really don't know the science behind it. I really don't understand EMFs that much, but it's like basically everything electronic. It causes fatigue and throws off hormones and how our body's supposed to operate properly. And honestly, when you talk about it, at least if you see an ad about it, it's like very like, I would almost say like very Eastern, where it's like your body has its own like electromagnetic field, which is kind of true. And your body works off all these things, and it's important. And then with us being surrounded by technology, it actually disrupts the body's natural processes. So it causes your cells not to operate at full potential. It causes fatigue and sleep loss and like all this stuff. And I think there could be something to that. Like, it's probably not great to like sleep with your phone next to your head and like certain things like that. But it's also like, it's also like the same thing of like where people are like, oh, cell phones are going to give you brain tumors. Mm-hmm. That's like the thing where it's like, I don't think it's like that. it's so weird because I don't think there's been a lot of studies on it.
Yeah, I've never really understood it.
No, but it's like I've seen some stuff and I'm like, I'm all about trying to be healthier and focus on things because the U.S. is just so whack it. Like the two things that the U.S. lacks in education the most is finances and health. So
two very important things.
Yeah, some of the most important things to living and being successful is how do you treat your body? How do you feel every day? How long are you going to live? Like, what are you able to do? And then how are you able to handle your money and not just blow it?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like those are the two most important things that up and coming kids need. And then those are the two things that are not taught.
No. They barely skim over fucking taxes in school.
No, yeah, it's like
they barely skim over anything, and they're like, "Oh, you should have learned this in high school." Should we have? Because they didn't teach it.
This is why I don't know if I want my kids to go to public school.
I for sure don't. I think I've already made that. I've already made that decision.
Same. But that's the thing. I don't know what I wanted them to do.
I don't either. Yeah. But I don't want public school.
No, I'm not saying that it's necessarily negative. But I think that probably in the long run, there's more benefits going homeschooled. One, actually learning stuff that's more important.
Even though everybody's like, oh, if you're homeschooled, they're not going to be socialized. They can still get socialization.
Yes, and I think that
through
depends.
Being homeschooled.
And not saying that doesn't happen, but I think that depends on how the family handles it, where you're being homeschooled. Like if you're a Mormon family that lives up in the mountains of Montana, and you've never seen a cell phone or some shit. Yeah.
Okay. But, they can still do sports. They do, co-ops for homeschool shit.
Not Montana.
Stuff like that.
Sports are against the devil.
Against the devil? Foosball is the devil.
Yeah. Foosball. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know, but we'll see what the hell goes on with that. I just know that there's stuff that I feel like I wish I would have learned in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I feel like
actually the most
Diesel, come here.
The most continue, not continue.
Yeah, go.
That something that I really like. Hi, Bubba.
Hi.
So something that I thought helped me in the financial department that I learned in school was I had a teacher through 4th and 5th grade where she taught us how to balance a checkbook. I mean, granted, it doesn't really happen anymore, but stuff not as used as frequently, you know what I mean?
It's not probably used hardly at all.
Well, whatever. But she taught us stuff like that at school, and we had bills we had to pay. We had money, we had our paychecks, our desks were our homes, if our rent wasn't paid, our desk got flipped upside down and we couldn't use it until we paid. And I thought that was very I remember that we started to learn about it in math class years in middle school, and I was like, I got this, I've been doing this for a while, and I knew what I was doing. And in business, freshman year in high school, how Levitt did the checkbook stuff, I remembered everything that we did in 4th and 5th grade, and I applied it there, and I was like, that's helpful. But then now they don't do anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, so
in especially our school, I've heard a lot of things about things falling downhill.
Okay, so I was taught checkbook stuff pretty young, but it's now it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
But then not only that, the stuff I was taught was they talked about they did talk about some stocks and retirement accounts and a few things, but they didn't explain it very well or actually teach you anything or teach you about laws or actual regulations. And maybe they did, but it didn't stick at all. They didn't teach it well.
I also don't think they teach it in the right age. Especially, I personally think, I get it. It's something I think,
mainly just be, hey, this is what's about to happen.
I get it, because most business classes, you take them freshman year in high school, and then you're basically done. whatever. I think it should be like junior, senior year when you're about to go out into the world. You're either working or you're going to college.
Mm-hmm.
And that's stuff you're going to need to know how to deal with finances, how to get loans, how to like, because like, I don't know that much. And I was like, how do I even get a loan? Like, what do I have to do for school? Like, there was all sorts of stuff that I was just like, what the hell?
Like, we've talked even like off camera, off microphone,
Off
whatever.
air.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've learned more about nutrition and finances outside of school than I ever did in school.
It wasn't really like, I think it was like a skimmed over chapter in our health book was nutrition. For sure. It was totally skimmed over.
And nutrition,
and it was just like obesity, and then that was it, and that's all they talked about.
And nutrition's literally the most important aspect of health. Like, literally almost 98% of health, like, risk comes down to how you live your life when it comes to activity levels, and the environment you're around, and the food you put in your body. And the food makes up the majority of it. And it's like, and it was like not talked about at all. Like, I when it comes to actual nutrition, I don't even know if it was brought up. And you did like advanced health and stuff, and I just took the regular shit. I don't think it was ever brought up. And then when it comes to like the finance stuff, yeah, like they barely talk about it. They don't explain it. They don't like really go into it. And part of me is like, okay, I kind of wish I was taught this beforehand, but I think also being out of school and having to kind of learn on my own also made it easier for me to actually sit down and like take in. And I don't know if part of that is because I was choosing to teach myself in a way, and like choosing to watch videos and stuff and learn, or because of how I was learning, or if it was because I mean, even though at the time I'm like, okay, I'm 19, but I'm like an adult, and I'm like, okay, like this is something I got to know. And even just being outside of high school, you kind of look at shit differently, and even pretty quickly your perspective on shit starts to change.
And there's still like, obviously you're older than me, but there's still like things with,
I'm not that old.
Like, that's not what I was getting at. Like with like the finance stuff, because you went straight in the workforce and I went to school, that like there's stuff that I still don't know that I know I'm going to need, but like I'm going to have to teach it to myself because I'm not learning that at college either. Like finance stuff. Like I don't know how to like
example go.
Like I don't know, interest rate or credit cards. Like, I get that's something super fucking easy.
But it's not explained.
But it's not explained. And me being me, I'm like, what? Like, I get overwhelmed if I'm reading a description of something. I'm like, what even is this?
Credit cards were not talked about, I don't think, at all in school.
No. And it was always a bad thing.
Yeah, because in the 80s, people didn't, like, when they first came out, people didn't understand it. And so, in the 80s, people got screwed over. And then, so their kids were basically, it was hammered into our parents'
that it was
ears
bad.
of, like, terrible, don't trust it.
Because I remember our parents talking about, especially our dad.
But our parents went through bankruptcy. So it's like, and they were like, it was
don't
from
get credit cards debt. And like,
so it's like, yeah, I get it. But
and that's why I like, if I would get a credit card, which I want to, obviously, because I want to build a credit. So when I get out of school or with loans and shit like that.
Yeah. Like,
I want to be smart with it. Like, I don't want to be, our mother and have like 10 credit cards at one time and paying off on all of that's 4. Just not for me. I can't do that. I cannot keep things balanced. I'd rather just have one, know what I want to put on it, and pay it off as soon as I can.
It's not necessarily a bad thing to have multiple, but like we said, you want to probably use it, especially if you're just trying to grow your credit, is the least amount of possible.
That's why, like, for me, I only want to get a credit card and only put my gas on it and then pay it off. Like, that's perfect. That's where my brain's going, especially being in school.
Yeah, either that or buy your books with it. But you already have the money to buy your books, so just pay it right off. Like, something along those lines. And just to have that credit history. And so that's the thing. Like, the only thing I recall in school wasn't high school. This was like 4th grade or 5th. I think my teacher said credit cards were created by the devil.
What?
Like, straight up. Like like whoever invented credit cards worked with the devil. Shit. Like not literally, but saying like that's how bad they are. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, because I like pretty much all growing up, I was like, I don't want a credit card. Like they're bad. Like,
but at the same time, I can listen to Dave Ramsey and he'd be like, "Debt's terrible. Pay your mortgage. Don't have a credit card. Don't do this. Cut your credit cards up. Never go into debt." Going into debt is a different thing than using credit. Like, I don't think. It depends on the person, and I think in general.
But I feel like as a society, it's kind of hard nowadays not to go in debt.
You
like,
can.
A lot of average people can't just outright pay cash for a house or for
there
a
are
car.
there are ways around it, but that's also part of it too. Is that people aren't educated? Also, either one, how not to be screwed over by the bank, or how to do it a different way without going.
Because they make it sound like the banks make it sound so complex. Of we got it, we're helping you,
yeah, and it's probably right now. I mean, in certain instances, I probably wouldn't trust the banks as far as you can throw them at some points. Like, but at the same time, this is probably the safest banking environment for a consumer it's ever been when it comes to getting loans and mortgages. Like in the 80s, it was wild. Interest rates were like fucking 18%. And stuff was wild, and you could get a home, but also homes were way cheaper.
Yeah.
But so you could just get like a promissory note for a house, and that's what happened to him. He ended up buying a bunch of shit in real estate, and then the bank was like, "Hey, we need you to pay all your loans back like in 2 months," and he owed like $2 million. And he's like,
oh my,
nope. So even after selling all the houses, he ended up going bankrupt. That's why he ended up becoming the like cash guy and basically trying to find ways to finance without ever using that. And because he was a realtor when he got into everything, and he was very young, and it happened to him when he was like 22.
And going bankrupt at 22,
yeah.
I could never.
So,
I could not fathom that.
But now he's worth. He owns like $500 million worth of real estate.
Damn.
Like. And he owns it all outright, not a single loan. So,
shit.
I mean, he's not an idiot, but I think that's the thing. Is part of it is just being properly educated on like, okay, if you're going this route, this is what you need to look out for.
There's a lot of things that I think like nationwide that aren't properly educated whatsoever.
Not at all. Like, I mean, like I was just listening to a podcast today off of the Genius Life. And he was talking to this person that's like a doctor and mental health activist. Not activist, that's not the right thing. But I think he's also a psychiatrist. But he studies like dementia and schizophrenia and like all these different things. And he was talking about how like ketogenic diet is amazing in the sense of it helps reset, one, your body, your metabolism, kind of kills all the bad cells off and resets your metabolism. Because he's like, that's one of the worst things in the country. And people are always like, oh, it's so bad about the animals and pollution. But it's like, how about we figure out what's poisoning the human species? Because I didn't realize this. I thought I had seen one statistic once. But since the 1970s, our average calorie consumption per person has not changed. But we're fatter and unhealthier than we've ever been. So it's like, what's the cause of that? Like, is it... And part of it is like, oh yeah, we're probably eating more processed food. But that means there's shit that's just in all the food that's causing our bodies not to work. And causing us to be fat and obese and deal with heart attacks and dementia and diabetes and like all this stuff. And then it's like he's like, the FDA doesn't mention anything about like endocrine disrupting chemicals or anything in the atmosphere, not in the atmosphere, but like in the environments of food or what's used. It's like the only thing they worry about is like cancer causing shit. If it's not going to give you cancer, they're like, that's good. You need it. Like,
yeah, that's like
artificial, like not sweeteners, but artificial colors, sweeteners. Even in Europe, the amount of stuff that is banned from foods, compared to here, is ridiculous when it comes to dyes, chemicals, everything. Like, there's a certain YouTube show, I can't remember what it's called, but they do like fast food stuff, and they'll be like McDonald's in America, McDonald's in the UK. And then they'll pull it and be like, how many calories is it in this? How much does it weigh? What's the ingredients list? Like all of this stuff. And it's like the list for ours is like a mile long. And theirs is like
simple
8 things.
Yeah.
and like all this stuff, and the calories are
Which
lower,
I feel like that's something
and
that the U.S. should do. They should ban certain shit in our food.
yeah, but
It's, money.
money. So it's just like he's talking about that, and
I don't
how,
know,
I mean, I've heard, I think, something about like the keto diet can be beneficial for Alzheimer's patients, but he literally talked about an example where he had someone that was schizophrenic, and typically Alzheimer or keto has been used in the past like 60 years for epilepsy treatments, because it can help, because basically keto diet forces your body to run off of ketosis, which means you're burning fats, and your brain can use ketosis properly. You're not using glucose, you're not using like sugars, and your brain can process ketones, and so it kind of helps level out everything and run not necessarily more naturally, but I feel like almost more efficiently. And so there's already been studies that it improves symptoms for epilepsy, and he happened to put a client on this. The guy was like 300 pounds or something plus, and was schizophrenic, voices hallucinations. 2 weeks later, he comes back in. He seems less depressed, and he's like, oh, so he noticed like antidepressant symptoms, like all these things from the keto diet. He started to lose a little weight, whatever. 6 months later, a guy comes in. He starts talking about the stuff he was saying, and how like he thinks everybody's listening to it, like all these things. He's seeing visions, hallucinations. He's like, I still hear them, but like, they're like in background noise now. And he's like, all those things I was saying, and he thought he was just about to talk about it, go through it like normal. He's like, I've heard this so many times. He's like, yeah, now they say it out loud. It's kind of crazy. Like, I don't like. He basically reversed his symptoms. Now he has a job. Like, he's fully recovered, pretty much. I think he's probably on keto like for the rest of his life, but like he's able to operate properly. He's lost like 150 pounds, like all this stuff, and he's good. It's like, holy shit. Like, why isn't this used more often? Like, and he's like, I literally prescribe people keto diet. Be like, this is what you gotta fucking do. I ain't giving you a pill. I ain't doing this.
Now it's just push a pill, push a pill, push a pill, push a pill.
We're both in that environment, but at the same time, I think we're getting better. Because he's like, it's not that people aren't trying. It's not that people are lazy. It's not that people aren't trying to lose weight or exercise. But if they don't do certain things and actually know what it is to eat and what to keep out of their diets, because it's like, I could eat at a caloric deficit and eat Twinkies and McDonald's and all this stuff, but that does not mean I'm going to lose weight. I could also exercise. If I'm eating all this crappy food, it's going to ruin my body in different ways. Where it's like, if part of that is just still going to non-processed foods and eating whole foods. And that's part of it. You'll be more satiated. You'll get more nutrients out of everything you eat. But so I'm like, well, I already kind of eat reduced carbs, so maybe that's a good thing. Like, I mean, like I want to start taking MCT oils with my coffee and stuff. Like, it's crazy that there's still so much we don't know about the human body that's like coming out. That's why like I love his podcast, because like everything and everybody comes on deals with something in the medical field, but half the time it has to do with like plant, like food. And like one of the things he was talking to a guy was sprouting. I didn't know what that is, but I'm like, oh, I might consider that. Where like he literally for a month just ate sprouts for his diet. So it's like taking broccoli, chickpeas, like all these things, basically putting them in jars, a little bit of water, and then like wait until like the seeds sprout, and then just eating those. And like super nutrient dense, and like high in protein with certain stuff, and has more nutrients because it's and easier to process by the body in that stage, because when they're starting to grow, they basically fill themselves with as much nutrients as it can, because it's trying to grow a whole new plant. So it kind of releases all this stuff, and then so if you eat it at that point, you're getting all that extra stuff.
I've never thought about that.
And he's like, it's super cheap. He's like, you can go and do this and just add this to part of your diet or snack, like whatever. And he's like, what did he say? He's like, it can be pennies on the dollar. It's like, you're going and you can go buy some sprouting seeds and just set this up. He's like, he apparently pulled out all sorts of different types, and I can't remember, but it was like, I think that he even had like broccoli. He had like beans, chickpeas, like lentils, like a bunch of different stuff. And I was like, I never would have thought about it. It's like, wow, that's crazy. It's like you can have your own little garden literally in jars on your counter. You don't have to water them.
That's really what I want to do.
You don't got to do shit. And I was like, that's awesome. It's like, I'm going to look into that. Like, that would be simple, cost-effective, a very healthy thing to do. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't straight up just eat those outright all the time, just adding those to whatever I'm eating. I was like, that's pretty wild. Never would have thought about it.
I wouldn't have either.
And that's one reason why it's like, the internet's so great because there's access to certain, like, so much information. But at the same time, finding it sometimes hard because you get distracted by everything else on the internet. Like, how much TikTok do you
Preach, brother, preach.
I'm preaching. But, so it's just, it's wild. I hope that at least I set up my kids in a better situation. Like there's times now just, like, watching this stuff, I honestly can't look at food the same anymore. Like, it's really weird. Like, today I didn't eat the best, but it's because I know that I'm about to really go back hard on everything and really hit it strict. Like, I'm doing a 2-day fast after this, the next couple days, and I'm going really strict on the diet again, and I'm getting back in it because I fell out of it. I've been in the gym. I haven't hardly dieted in, like, 3 weeks, and I'm like, okay, this has happened to me before. I just got to fucking hit the horse hard again and just get back into routine. Keep it up. Not give a shit. And just, like, people want me to stay out. Honestly, certain situations, be like, no, I don't give a fuck. I'm 22.
When have you stayed out?
I'm going to bed at, like, 9. I don't give a shit. I'm going to bed. I'm waking up early. I'm going to the gym. You guys can fuck off. Like, it's not that I don't want to have fun.
I'm just happy that I have a weekend off.
Oh, yeah. The 3-day weekend. That'll be nice.
Yeah, but the other thing is now the temperature this weekend went down, and next week it's supposed to be in the 90s.
Ooh. That'll be interesting. But it's just like I gotta get back after it because, like, I literally look at certain foods now. I'm like, it's just, like, straight up poison. Like, 100%. Like, I look at a donut. I'm like,
I wish I could look at that.
This is literally, like, a toxin.
I don't like donuts anymore.
Well, yeah,
I'm really not a fan.
You worked at a donut shop for
But
a while.
I still, like, even when I worked at a donut shop, I barely ate them. But, like, the smell is, like, triggering. Like, I don't like the smell of them. Like, pastries, like, sometimes I like sweet things, but, like, very seldom now. Or it has to be, like, a sweet and salty mix for me to want to eat it. Like, which I guess is good because I'm not eating it or whatever. But, like, I like donuts. I'm like, ugh.
And I think
I still like powdered donuts, but
I mean, I think every now and again you do gotta, like, let yourself go a little bit, but it's like I look at the stuff that we grew up on, and I just can't look at it the same, like, at all. Like,
it's kind of crazy.
What I mean, like, yeah, like, it's like I see people eating Pop-Tarts. I'm like, you realize what the fuck you're eating right now? Or, like, I see someone
like every day
eating, like, yeah, right, or someone eating, like, Kraft mac and cheese. I'm like, oh, no.
Velveeta's better. I will.
Oh, well, that's not good for you either. So
I don't care.
Give up.
Velveeta's better than Kraft.
Maybe, but, like, that's something else that should, like, there's just so many foods. Like, half the time I look at the grocery store, I'm like, you shouldn't eat, like, 90% of what's in here. And so it's just, you kind of look at everything a little differently eventually. The more you listen and you learn about stuff, because you're just like, yeah, that's straight up junk. Like, but there's times you want to go out and you want to have fun, but it's like, honestly, most of this shit's just not good for you. Like, I was surprised when we did go to that Italian restaurant. It's the first time I probably ate so many carbs in one sitting, but I didn't feel like shit. And I feel like part of it was that it was all fresh shit. Not saying some of it might not have been processed, but I'm about 90% sure, like, it was all made there. It was fresh, yeah, like, so it was high quality stuff, where most of the places, like, that's even something he talks about. He's like, when you're trying to do this stuff and cut out certain things, one of the things you got to realize is going out to eat, you don't have control of what they're actually using. Like, they could be using canola oil, they could be using all these other things, or you don't know where they're getting the food necessarily.
So should you say always go for a salad when you go out?
Not necessarily. Actually, I'd probably be better off getting, like, a steak. But
Couldn't they use certain oils with it?
The steak, not typically. I feel like no matter what, even in those places, they probably use butter. Like that's the typical go-to for a steak.
I'm not like a steak person.
I
don't
either.
even know if I've like really had a good
Yeah,
steak.
because our parents also, or our mom also fell in line with almost like the fad thing of like red meat's terrible. Or like our grandmother telling me that, oh.
And then like with Dad, one, we never had the money to go buy steak, but two, he didn't like it, so we didn't have it.
We never ate it. But like when I did carnivore this January, I ate more steaks in that month than I probably have in my life.
Honestly, now that I think about it, I don't think I've actually like been to a restaurant or even like had an actual steak.
It grows on
besides like a fucking steak quesadilla. Like,
yeah, but I mean, it's good. Like so, like that was the fad our family fell into. Or even like the other day, my grandmother, you were there telling me that, oh, it's bad because I didn't eat all day. It's like, no, it's really not. Like, and like we've talked
that they will still say that to the day they die.
No, at one point next time they tell me, I'm gonna be like, Grandma, no, I'm sorry, but that's not how it works.
Even our mom says that too.
Yeah, and it's like, especially for me as a male, literally fasting 15 hours boosts testosterone by over 200%. Fasting 20 hours boosts growth hormone by 2,000%, or something like that. Don't quote me on those numbers, but it is something like, it might even be more than 200% because it's like something ridiculous, because just how our body, the male body works, it's almost like not fasting helps us out. And when you think about it, you know what? That actually kind of makes sense. Because in the sense of getting a shit ton of growth hormone and testosterone basically makes your body hold on and build as much muscle as possible. So if you're having a lack of food, it tries to keep your body from losing like your muscle, at least as long as it can. And it helps it from not consuming your muscles probably. Where like eventually, yeah. If you're not eating for like 3 weeks, like, yeah, your muscles are going to fucking start going, especially if you're already thin. But that actually kind of makes sense. Like back in the day of like your body, especially for a male, being like, oh, you're hunting, you're trying to do all these things. Like, okay, like let's try to conserve like the energy, try to conserve all the muscles as much as we can. So you haven't ate in like a day, your body's like, let's try to hold on to that as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't work the same for a female body. So it's like you can't. Yeah, for you to maybe fast all day probably isn't the best idea. But like for me to not eat once a day, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So it's just different. Where it's like back in the day, it's like, oh, you gotta eat 3 meals a day. You gotta do this. Not really. Like that. There's no health benefits.
I've never been a 3 meal a day person ever.
No. I'm like typically two.
I'm not.
I was one for a long time.
That's pretty much what I am now.
We're trying to change that.
One for a long time, but like I never ate breakfast. I never liked it. I never liked the idea.
We did when we were real young.
Even in elementary school, I didn't like the idea of getting up and eating. Like it just, I wasn't hungry, and I just was like, why? What's the point? And then it was always breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
For a kid, it can be. But also, maybe the stuff we would have been eating.
Yeah. I was going to say ours was
honestly, you were doing better than me for years.
Because I ate fried eggs every day at Grandma's house.
Yeah.
I loved fried eggs. I don't know what it was, but Grandma, to this day, Grandma can't cook. But to this day, Grandma's fried eggs are my favorite. I don't know if it's the butter, the oil, whatever she used to put in the pan. I don't know. But her fried eggs always come out better than the fried eggs I do at home, like myself, anybody else. And I love them. Speaking of, I should ask her if I should have fried egg at her house.
Yeah, like that's another thing. Was like someone was like, how the U.S. does shit, eating sweets in the morning, worst thing you can do. Like eating cereal and waffles and pancakes, savory breakfast. Because you spike your glucose, so you get the energy.
What about fruits? Well, fruits have a lot of sugar, though.
Fruits, I don't think it's a bad thing, but not a large amount.
So what should you give?
Like eggs in particular. Like a lot of protein and fats.
Protein muffin.
Like it's a lot of carbs too, but basically you want to try doing low carb, low sugars in the morning because it'll spike your glucose a lot more. So you get that energy real quick, but then you have that afternoon crash. So it's a combination of like those kind of breakfasts and then people drinking coffee too early. that people get an afternoon crash really bad. But also the afternoon crash is semi-natural too, so it's like a weird thing where it's like this. You do have a slight dip.
Isn't it supposed to be like you're not supposed to drink coffee until like 2 hours after you're awake or something like that?
Same with eating. You're not.
See, that's my only thing is I'm not a huge coffee person, but like now I have to use the bathroom every time I drink coffee. So then I just don't drink it because then I'm always in the most It's always at the most inopportune times. Like I'm at work or I'm like doing something. No, I will not shit at work. That is not a thing that I will ever do.
I know someone that's like drove home to take a shit at work and then come back.
I don't have that ability. So
he drove about a half hour to go take a shit. So, I mean, hey, it happens.
I mean, there's the girl that I work with, but she lives down the road.
I mean, I'll be honest. I like didn't shit outside of my house for 18 plus years for a while. Like, unless I absolutely had to. I was like,
at school, nope. Unless like I was about to shit my pants, it did not happen.
That's not a good thing either. You wanna know why? Because I thought I could get like AIDS off of a toilet or something.
I didn't think that. I thought I was terrified that someone would come in and they'd like smell my shit and be like, oh, she's shitting, or like stuff like that freaks me out.
Okay, so I don't know who's more ridiculous. You upset that someone's gonna hear you shitting, or me think I'm gonna catch HIV because someone left
remnants
on the toilet seat. Like, because I feel like I saw that on a TV show or heard something. I was like, oh shit, fuck public bathrooms. I don't want HIV. Like, nothing's touching my asshole besides my own toilet seat.
Oh,
and that's what I went for. And then you're over here like, I was like, Bailey, you have no idea the shit people have heard probably why I've been in the stalls before.
Why you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, just like, and it's like, and I told you this. Like, you for some reason are obsessed about this, but 100%. There's times that people know who the fuck's in the stall. Either I know who's in there, or they know I'm in there, but you never say anything. Either in there.
It's different though. A man can do that. It's different for a girl. I would. Yes, okay, it is.
I would. I get what you're saying.
Well, okay. Walk out of a place where there's only men and you're taking a shit and guys just stare at you. That's great. That's.
Yeah. Okay. So you say.
I mean, at work, at my other job where it's all females, like they'll say, "Oh my god, I really have to shit," and they'll run off to the bathroom. But that's not me. I'm not gonna announce it, and I'm not gonna do it.
Why?
I shall wait. I don't know. That's just not me.
I was like, hey, I'll be back. Like, I got shit. Like, I got a typical routine about when I go. But there's definitely been times that people have walked in, probably realized who it is, because I saw my boots, and there for a while mine were fairly recognizable, or I would recognize who it is. And then all of a sudden you're just hearing noises in that stall. You're like, I just want to piss and get the fuck out of here. Because you're just like,
be faster, people.
Yeah, because it's like, this dude's blowing up the toilet over there. Like, I don't smell it yet.
Blowing up the toilet?
What do you like?
You're that aggressive?
No,
shit.
Like him or myself. Like every once in a while, it's like weird noises, and you're like stuff's just coming out. You're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what I ate, but I'm sorry for whoever's in here. Like, it happens. It sucks that it happens. Like, you're in there on your own, and then all of a sudden, like somebody walks in.
I literally go,
you're like,
and I like clench.
You're like, shit.
If that ever happens.
I mean, there might be times I might have slowed it up.
I'm the type of person that I would have water running. Like, if you're in like a single bathroom, I'm the type of person that if I'm shitting,
you're so weird. I
could like have the fan running or like play my phone real loud or run the water. That's what Adam said our boss does. They have a bathroom that's dedicated for people shitting, I guess, kind of. And he goes in there, turns the fan on high, and runs the water while he's shitting. And then, like, keeps the fan on, shuts the toilet lid, and sprays it. And he was like, he's very elegant about, like, shitting. And I was like, maybe all y'all should be like that.
Well, so, yeah, now I'm going to be in an office full of women. So, yes, I'm a little more sensitive to how I don't know, bathroom routine.
Shit.
But luckily, yeah. But luckily, they got a fan in there that automatically kicks on. So it's like, oh, there's a noise threshold already. So I should be good. Like, I should be fine. But it's like.
But then also the brain that like goes to me when it's a fan that's not automatic, and then you turn it on, everybody be like, "Yep, they're taking a shit," and that's like I can't, just can't do it. I gotta clinch and walk out.
How do you think those bathrooms are in the shop? There ain't no fans. It's a cell in there. So how do you think it is in the summer? There's days I've walked in, no one's even in there, and you're just like, son of a, who was in here? Like it could have been 15 minutes, and you're like, fuck.
Do y'all have like Febreze or some shit?
No.
Or Poopery?
No.
You need to buy some. Be like, here.
But
please put a sticky note on it. Please use.
My etiquette, my bathroom etiquette's changed. Definitely being at the office a few times. So I make sure that, especially if I shit, I'm like, okay, like there's Febreze right here. I'm gonna spray a little bit because it's like, hey, you gotta help him out a little bit, right?
Always put your toilet seat down.
Yes, women, of course, I always do.
Now you do?
At least there, maybe not here, but so like, cause it's like, okay, if I had, let's just say, really, whatever, fucked up gut. There's 2 bathrooms. They're literally right next to the front door, and in between the front door and the front desk. So it's like.
See, that's kind of like at work. The 2 bathrooms are right next to somebody's office, and their doors are always open, and you can hear anything in the bathrooms. I can hear them pissing. Like, I don't know if this is weird.
Well, guys can pee pretty loud.
I know, but that's what I was just about to say. Guys and girls have a very different pee
Sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can hear anything they do in the bathroom.
I don't know why we're
and
talking
I'm
about
like,
this, but
this
women's is like a psh, and like a
guys is like a force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a force.
Because the other day, one of the guys went to the bathroom, and I was like, Jesus Christ, have you not peed in 10 years? Like, it was so forcefully pushed out. It was like, Jesus
There's every
Christ.
once in a while, it's like a little piddly like stream. And then there's sometimes you're just like, and it goes for like a minute.
Yeah, and I'm like, is there a waterfall going on in there? Like, what is happening? Like, I've noticed that for a long time, but I've noticed it more at the office because I can hear everybody pee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like for us, because it's so forceful, that's why a urinal is so nice, because you don't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a toilet, like a regular toilet, it's just going in a pool of water. It's going to be so loud. Or it's like, if you're outside, like, oh, it's quiet. You have no clue it's even happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you're literally in a ceramic bowl with water. You're producing as much noise as possible.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about this?
I don't remember.
I think this is a good place to call it, but I'm just going to blame you for that. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching this podcast episode, whatever the hell it was. Yeah, fuck, I don't even know. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And
on that note, we're out.
Yeah, on that note, I guess we'll see you guys all next week. She might be on. I don't know. It depends on if I force her to. We'll see what happens. Saturday's my birthday, so I'll be a year older. And by the way, God damn it. Something I was going to bring up. Go watch The Machine this weekend. Support Bert Kreischer. Go on my birthday. Go Friday. Like, this is the first
I thought it came out on
bigger
your
comedy movie that's coming out in a long time. If this does well, this is going to greenlight so many more comedies with, like, big comedians of today. Like, him and Bert's already working on another movie, and he's like, if this does well, that means our movie's probably completely greenlit. Like,
yeah.
So, go watch that. I know I'm going to go see it. I don't give a shit. I don't care if people plan shit on my birthday. I'm going to the damn movies.
We're going in the morning, then.
Who wants to? We can't. So, I don't know.
Why can't we?
Literally, it's not. I've already looked at times.
I meant earliest time they have. If it's 10:30, we go at 10:30. If it's 11, we go at 11.
It's not 11.
When's the earliest one?
Like 2.
Are you shitting my dick?
No. So.
And all the plans that we have for you is in the afternoon.
See, this is why I don't like surprises.
It's not a surprise. I already told you everything.
Well, anyways, so go check that out. Go have a good laugh and watch The Machine. I know I will, for sure. But we'll see you guys all next week. Peace out, everybody.